Alright then, I think we'll get started then. Hello and welcome to our first ever bootcamp here on CodeCamp. Wonderful to have you here with us. My name is George Sprouse, and yeah, I'll be taking you through coding essentially. It's for beginners. Uh, so yeah, we'll just get straight into it. Sorry, if I sound a bit off, it's because my computer has decided to not show my mouse on screen. So yeah. So we're a brand new server, CodeCamp. We're basically focused on helping to take your concept from idea to design and development to possibly even publish software. Um, and so we are just starting up. We're very new here. But we are part of Skill Camp. I'll tell you a bit more about that in just a second. We plan to have a lot of free classes and events and workshops like this one. And then we'll also be offering some paid classes for maybe our more advanced skills. And we'll tell you all about that today. And as I was saying, we are a part of Skill Camp, which is a not-for-profit organization just set up, which is just about helping you to master the skills that you need to reach your goals, whatever that might be. We've got lots of new classes. Script Camp is sort of the original, as it were. Lots and lots of classes and resources there. And we've just started opening up our different camps for different skills. So we've got our slides. We've got our film camp, creative camp, tune camp, word camp, design camp is coming soon, and we've got code camp as well. So lots of servers. So pop by and get involved. We do have subtitles. I'm seeing, unfortunately, that they are not 100% accurate, but there we go. So here's a bit of an overview of, I say a bit of an overview because it's not finished, unfortunately, because this is brand new. We're not 100% sure how this is going to go, and so this is very likely to change. This is week one. Mainly, it's a bit of introductions and just getting started. We'll set up Python and we'll learn the basics. Next week, we'll be looking at data types, if statements, and so on. It's a 6-week course. We would be finishing on the 25th, but obviously that's Christmas Day, so we'll have a bit of a break. We'll probably give you a project to work on for week 5, and sort of you give it back to us on week 6. My name is George Sprouse, and I am self-taught. I have nearly 10 years of experience in making websites, 5 years with Python. I've created databases. I know actually a lot about anything computer-wise, anything related to computers, whether it's software or even hardware. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything tech, I'm probably a good person to ask. Well, that's enough about me. I want you to introduce yourself, if you want to meet yourself one by one. And we'll go, I want to know your name, any experience you have in programming, if at all, and what do you hope to achieve in this bootcamp? So if we go down the list, Nacho, do you have any experience, or just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Stuff that I needed just for like setting up a website, basically. So like some JavaScript, PHP, and a little bit of Google Apps Script because I was working on an extension, Google Docs, and which is very similar to JavaScript. So that's basically all I know. I like, yeah, I can't think of any other. I mean, I know some Lua as well. I learned a little bit of that.
Yeah.
To make a mod for a game. It's
Yeah.
a long time ago when like in junior high, like learning how to mod stuff. And yeah, that's about it. But what do I hope to achieve? I really would like to get a better handle on some of the basic like programming concepts, and also learn Python, which I have no experience at all in Python, so it's totally new for me.
Mm. Yeah, Python's a really good language for beginners, and it's also really powerful. It's used a lot in the industry. Maybe not necessarily for sort of end user facing apps, but a lot behind the scenes stuff is done in Python, which so yeah is really helpful. I think. Carmen, what about you? And by the way, if you don't want to unmute or you can't for whatever reason, you can use the Python Bootcamp channel, and that will just help. We'll be reading that throughout this, so not to worry if you can't unmute. Python, what about you?
Well, my programming skills are kind of limited. I've dabbled, I guess, in trying to learn how to do it for like modding games that I play on computers, but this stuff just goes right over my head.
Mm. Well, hopefully it won't for too long. And B, what about you? I know that B is new to Discord, so I don't know if they want to unmute or. Alright. So yeah. Moving on. So yeah, let me just tell you a bit more about the course. What will you achieve? Do not expect amazing things. Because programming, like anything, is a skill that needs a lot of work. It's not something that you'll master. It's not a particularly easy thing. This bootcamp is for absolute beginners. So if you're ahead of us in any way, just bear with us because it's meant for absolute beginners, and we'll only teach you the basics. And like I say, it takes years of hard work and practice to be good at programming. I've been programming for years, and even now, I make stupid mistakes. And I spent a few hours literally yesterday, trying to get software to work, trying to make a Discord bot actually, and it wasn't working because the bot hadn't been invited to the server. So some you make stupid mistakes like that. There are some languages, thankfully not in Python, but JavaScript, for example, if you're missing a semicolon or a comma, the whole program doesn't run. So programming can be very much like that. But again, the reason we've chosen Python is because you don't have to worry too much about missing commas and that sort of thing. And this, as we've said, this bootcamp will teach the principles to programming. Right, now for the longest section of this, we're going to install Python. And you need two things. You need a computer and you need Python. Now, if you don't have Python, don't worry. There are two options that I recommend. Either you go to this link, here. I will see if I can copy the link. I'll post it in the channel for you. And this is really what I would recommend to you, because in the past I've used a Python fiddle, which is the alternative to installing it. And though it sometimes works, it can be very much a miss. So I would recommend that you install it there. So there's the link there for you in the Python Bootcamp. Just full of instructions there, and it should be quite straightforward. And excuse me 1 minute while I just check like what some of our participants can hear, okay? Alright, so is everyone able to use that link okay?
So when you open this link, there are like, it looks like several different options.
Oh yeah, so if I go to the link myself. So you will kind of need to know which operating system you have. It should be the big yellow button. Download Python 3.11.0. And your computer should automatically download the right link actually. Sorry. Just checking my notes, yeah. So the installation is quite quick, hopefully. And if you do have any issues, just unmute and ask me. While that happens, let me tell you a bit more about. Well, actually, no. Let's talk a bit more about what you hope to achieve. So yeah, it sounds like people are just really wanting to get like the basics of programming rather than looking to build anything specific. Is that true?
Yeah, at least for me, yeah, I mean, there's some things that would be fun, some projects that I think would be fun to make, but for right now, just like, learning some of the fundamentals and then maybe trying to apply it to a bigger project later on.
Yeah, because you do want to start small, and then work your way up a bit. Do let me know when it's finished downloading so that I know when to move on. So just looking at my notes. There we go. While that's downloading, let's tell you a bit about our other camps which we mentioned a bit earlier. So we have a few in total. We have quite a few. We've got Script Camp, which is our oldest and our biggest. So that's for our screenwriters among us. There's a good chance that if you're here, you heard from there. We're doing a TV pilot bootcamp at the moment, feature bootcamp and script analysis. And our bootcamps are really just classes. And then we've got a number of groups too. Word Camp is for people writing prose stuff. Film Camp for filmmakers. Creator Camp are for those who want to be content creators. Tune Camp for our people who are very artistic, which I know I am not. There's an animation lab and character design bootcamp both going on. And Design Camp and Lingo Camp, they are coming soon, I believe. And I feel like there's another one. Is there? There isn't, is there? Not yet. But yeah, this is CodeCamp, and this is obviously our Python bootcamp. And then in the future, assuming this goes well, we'll start working on web bootcamps. That's sort of a bit about bit of what Nacho was talking about, doing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We'll do some databases. And another thing that we're going to start up on this server is we're going to be doing something that we call rubber ducks. If you're from ScriptCamp, you'll probably know about the writer's room, which is a 24/7 thing where you just get together whenever you feel like it, and it just helps to have bit of accountability and stuff, I think. Rubber Ducks is similar. It's 24/7. Whenever you're coding, if you're maybe stuck on something, or just if you're coding, just hang around in there and you can unmute. Hopefully, there'll be someone else in there to just help you through whatever problem you have. I'll be putting a lot of time into that. We do have like events, hopefully, in the Discord. At the top of the channel list, there'll be like 6 events at the moment, it says. And there'll be times that are just Rubber Ducks. That's the time when I'm going to commit myself to be there. I'll be in there other times as well, just to answer any questions you have about anything coding, whether it's Python, JavaScript, whatever language, then, I'll be in there. A lot of our classes and boot camps, some of them are free, but some are paid. And you can become a supporting member to help us to continue to grow. And you can see our payment tiers here. And different tiers will unlock various things. So by becoming a member, you get access to our video library. So that's videos, that's classes that have already taken place. And then by becoming an unlimited member, you get access to the other boot camps that are coming up. Again, across all of our servers, so just $50 a month, $49 a month rather, gives you boot camps for all of our servers that cover screenplays, novels, animation, cinematography, coding, and more. So yeah, do help and support us in that way if you can. In the future, we've already touched on the website bootcamps and the design bootcamp. Database bootcamp, rather. And we'll start up some team huddles, hopefully, as well. So that's all hopefully in the future. How's everyone doing with installation? Are you all doing okay? If you can just give me a thumbs
I think.
up. Sorry, Nacho, go ahead.
Oh, let's see. Thumbs up. There we go.
Just give a thumbs up in the.
Did that appear for you?
Sorry, what's that?
Do you see the thumbs up?
No.
No. Oh, it's like a new Discord feature, but.
No, I didn't see it. But wait, Carmen. When you say you don't, wait, can you hear us? Oh, you don't have a microphone. You can hear us. Okay. But you have it, yeah. So I'm just trying to help Carmen. Yes, you can hear us. Okay. But you can't unmute. Is that your problem? Oh, sorry, I've lost my camp now. If you're unable to install or you've not got it installed, then I will give you the link to the Python fiddle if that helps. And actually, if you can help Carmen, please, that would be helpful. I'm going to copy this link. If my computer would let me. There we go.
Oh, I think
it's in safe mode. Is it?
or maybe S mode, like it's maybe is this like a tablet or something, or Windows S versus full Windows?
I'm not sure what S mode is in Windows. If you can use the fiddle, it should work for today's session. Yeah, unfortunately, not much we can do. If you want, you can hang around in the class after this is over, and we'll see if we can help you to fix it. For now, let's just get into our into the programming. Sorry, I've lost my tab. Lost my Okay, Nacho sent you something there, Carmen. Sorry, I'm trying to find the right window. There we go. Right. So, if you open up Python, you should get something that looks like the window on the right hand side. And if you get that, you want to click Control N, which will give you something like the window on the left hand side. I should have done the first one on the left, and then that would have made sense, but don't worry about it. So this is Python. It looks a bit intimidating. There's nothing to worry about. So Python really is a great language for all sorts of things. You can connect to databases. You can get it to do arithmetic and maths. You can get it to do. You can use it to make games even. Well, the first thing that a lot of people do with any language that they're using for the first time is to get it to output one phrase in particular. And that phrase is "Hello world," often with an exclamation mark. Now, if I were to run this, it will ask you, press F5 to run, and it will ask you to save it. Now, it's not going to run because it's an invalid syntax. With coding, you have to use a certain syntax, certain words in the right place in order to get it to run. Now, the way we output is by using a word print. You can see that it's gone from black. The word print has gone from black to purple. That means it's a recognized keyword. You're going to, after the word print, you're going to use the open parentheses, open brackets, and then a speech mark. And that says you need to print whatever is in this bit here, which is "Hello world." We need to close this, so close speech marks and close parentheses. Right, now if you press F5 and save it, it comes out "Hello world." So that essentially is it. That's your first Python program. But obviously that's not very impressive. You know, that's not, yeah. You want a bit better than that. Sorry, my computer's being weird. Why on earth does my mouse keep vanishing? Alright, ignore that. So let me get my notes. I've lost my notes. So when are you going to say something, Nacho?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna welcome D to the class, and I posted a link there just in case you want to catch up. Install Python at python.org/downloads.
Yeah, thank you. So that's one of the most basic scripts you can write, probably close to print 1 plus 1. If you run that, you get a line "Hello world," and then the next line is 2 because it's done the the maths for you. Sorry, I need to figure out why my mouse is disappearing again.
It sometimes happens during streaming, so it'd be like the privacy mode or something for the stream. But one thing that I found that helps is if you have like a mouse, driver, just laying your cursor back.
Just what?
Have
sorry?
one the mouse board settings. As soon as I open that, it brings the cursor back immediately.
Okay. I have to keep going into PowerPoint in order to get it back. I've got it now. Alright. It's good to know. Thank you. Now, at the moment with our program, you can see that the 2 and the hello world are on 2 different lines. How would we get that onto the same line? Well, print automatically creates a new line every time you get this end bracket. And so what you're going to want to do is actually get rid of this end bracket. If we got rid of this and ran it with a comma, then you get it on the same line. Now, sorry, just looking through my notes. I should have gone through this again. Now, there's lots of different keywords and different things you can get it to do. Actually, let me show you variables. So I can create a variable and we'll call it x equals speech marks, and we're going to move this, we're going to cut this, and we're going to paste it into the speech marks, and to get rid of the speech marks inside of print and put an x instead, we should get the same result, hello world, because a variable is sort of like a container. It holds whatever you give it, basically. So we've got our variable called x, and we're saying that x is hello world. And so when we put the x into print, it's the same as having print hello world. It's the same thing. And then in other programs as well, you'll have a constant which will define like that, which is basically the same as a variable, except it never changes. Now, if I have hello world, I can then have goodbye. I can change the variable simply the same way as I set it. I'm going to change it just in the same way as I set it. Now, if I run it now, what would you expect? Would you expect it to say hello world or goodbye? If I run this program as it is now, what should I get?
It should just print hello world and then change x to goodbye afterwards, right?
Correct. The reason it does this is because we're telling it to... see, it's not changed because we're telling it to change after it's already told us what it says. So if I move it down below the goodbye, what would it say now?
So now it would be goodbye, right?
Yes, correct. There is a way to have it say hello world and then goodbye in the same sentence, as it were. I believe like this. Yes. So by adding a plus in front of but equals, you're saying put this bit here immediately after this bit here. That's what this bit here means. You're just adding to, so you're setting a variable, but you're adding to what's already there. So that's how variables work. And then there's different types of variables as well. So for example, and we'll touch on this later on, but you can have integers. So for example, 1, you can have booleans like true, except in Python true begins with a capital T. And you can have arrays, which we'll touch on in the future, but that will be like a list of things. So it might be a list of numbers, each separated by a comma, for example. And again, we'll touch on arrays later on. My lesson is a bit shorter than I was expecting, so I think I said that my lesson plans would be likely to change, and they are. So let's actually touch on if statements. So I'm thinking about what I want to do, whether I want to do if statements or not. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, let's do that. Okay then, so I can have statements. I can have bits of code that run depending on whether or not a statement is true or false, or a condition is met. And the way that I can do that is by doing, get rid of all of this. You can use an if statement. Just say if x equals true, for example. You're going to put a colon there, and it will indent. If x is true, print or output hi. Or no, let's output something that makes sense. Output true. Now, if I say that x equals false, and I run this program, you shouldn't get anything to print. Oh, did that wrong. So if x is equals true, the reason is that's how you get Python to check something. So if I run that, it won't print anything because x is not true. It's not going to run this bit of code because x does not equal true. It equals false, as said here. So if I change this to true, it will run, as you can see there. Now, what if I want to have multiple, not just multiple bits of code running for the same outcome, but what if I want to prepare for multiple outcomes? So what if, x is false? What should the program do then? The way that we do this, program this in, is by using an elif statement, or else if. Except it's not written like that in Python. In JavaScript, for example, it is written like that, but in Python, it's written elif. And so yeah, whenever you see elif, it just means else if. Elif x equals false, and again the colon, and we'll print. We can actually, we print false, like that.
Sorry, Joel, could you explain a little bit more what elif and else if means? So, for example, it's sort of like if it equals true, then it's going to print true. And then you're kind of saying, well, or if it equals something else, right?
Yeah,
basically, or
that's
if
exactly it. So, if the statement is met, then do this. Else, or otherwise, if it does not, then do this. So, I should have used else first. That would have made more sense. So you have if, and then you have else, which is if the condition is not met. If the condition is not met. I don't know why I started writing it in Python. But yeah. So if something is true, and then else is if it's not true. If the condition is not met. Rather. And then else if is elif is just merging the two together into one phrase. You could just have this, that would work well as well. It just means that the this is just something that's done, to be honest. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about Python? Anything you want to know?
Is it better just to maybe use my mouth? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What was that? Is it better to use your... Oh, your Mac?
My Mac?
Yeah, your Mac should work.
Okay.
Have you used a fiddle or...
No.
Okay. So we've got a link to the fiddle if that's quicker. Hopefully that works as well. But yeah, I would recommend in future that you download Python because it's, it will work for you. Yeah.
so Python Fiddle is sort of like a browser version, like you're just
Yeah, it's
typing and
an
you're seeing
internet
what
version.
happens.
It's nothing to download. It will run, on the internet. In fact, I should be able to show that to you. Let me share my screen. Yeah, so this is what Python Fiddle looks like, and you can write whatever code you want here, and it should just run. It runs in the bottom there. And then obviously you have the...
I have a question. Which one of the... Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Which one of the programs should I try to install on my Windows computer? Because there's a whole bunch of them. There's like the stable release, and then like a number of other ones.
Use the yellow button, so it's the download. It's right at the top. There's a yellow download Python 3.11. Don't worry about the other releases. Yeah, if I show you, it's just this yellow button here. That will just your computer should automatically give you the right link. Yeah. If not, just click whatever operating system you're using and the latest version, and that'll work fine. But yeah, I think that's about it for this week. We're a bit shorter than we were expecting. But yeah, that's essentially your first program. And sometimes coding is as easy as that, and sometimes it's not. But yeah, we'll be going through. Not sort of, for goodness sake. My mouse has gone missing again. Oh, okay.
Thomas is gonna miss.
Oh, is that what the
The subtitle said Thomas is gonna miss him again.
Weirdly, I can see where my mouse is on my OBS, but not on my screen. How does that work? There we go. Got it back. Alright, yeah. So yeah, that's the first Python program. It's a very simple program. And yeah, this week is really just about introducing you to Python. We'll get a lot more advanced. We'll be making lists. We'll actually be making a bit of software where you could have a shopping list. We'll be making calculators. We'll be doing all sorts of things, and we'll gradually get more and more advanced. But yeah, this session was really just about telling you what Python is about, what you can achieve. And so if you have any questions regarding that, then yeah, feel free to just unmute and let me know. And yeah, hopefully you will be back next week. Make sure to invite other people who might want to know about coding. And I think that's about it for me. Nacho, anything from you?
Sure. Did anyone still have trouble getting it installed or need a little extra help? And just so you guys know, we have table reads on the CodeCamp website starting up in about an hour. And then we'll have a fantasy workshop later today.
Yeah, we have a lot of, as we said earlier, we've got a lot of activities going on in our other servers, CodeCamp in particular. So yeah, do make sure to join us then. But yeah, thanks so much for coming out and come to check us out. Do stay active because there was a lot that will be happening on this server. So yeah, we'll be back the same time. Let me see if I can get our schedule back up on here. Let me see if I can find it. There. We've got lots of classes that are happening at various times. This doesn't show you all the times, unfortunately. But yeah. Go to scriptcamp.net. I think all of our classes are on there, are they, Nacho?
Yeah. Anyone have any kind of general questions, just maybe about programming or what you can do with Python, like what kinds of applications you can create, or anyone just any questions in general for Joel?
I have a question. Like, what's the point of it in general? Like, I haven't been able to open the program or download it, but I'm going to do it by next week on my Mac. I just don't feel like getting it out and opening it and putting it on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, like, what is programming? Like, what is it actually for?
So that's a big question because really it can be used for anything and everything. Like, you can get, obviously, malware, but you can get, not from downloading it, you can build malware using it, but you can build really powerful tools. Everything that you see in the world pretty much right now has been built using software. You can get all kinds of things. From the app that tells you when the next bus is due, but there's a good chance that uses Python. PowerPoint probably doesn't use Python, but that was built using code. Absolutely everything, and actually for me personally, when I was learning code, the possibilities are endless. Like, there are so many uses for it, and it helps you think in a different way as well, because the way you have to think, you really have to break down steps and just, because for a human, right, if you're washing the dishes, that in itself is a whole task. But actually, washing the dishes, there are so many. You have to walk to the sink. You have to turn on the tap. You have to check the temperature of the tap. If the temperature is not hot enough, raise the temperature up. Turn on the hot tap more. If it's too hot, turn on cold. And so actually, if you break it down like that, there are so many steps to everything that you do, and I think that actually, even if you never make any software, just teaching your brain to do that is helpful in itself, because it helps you appreciate what you're actually doing. Washing up isn't one task, it's a couple of hundreds. You pick up the next plate. If you programmed a computer to pick up a plate that is so complex, because you have to make sure that the computer doesn't grip too tight or it will break, and get it at the right angle and all of that. So yeah, even if you never make an app, it's still I think personally it helps you have an appreciation for the human body as well. When you're spending a lot of time at the computer, it makes you appreciate how well the human body works.
Okay, so learning programming can enable you to make your own app. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
So
Okay, 'cause, I remember okay, like the closest thing I ever came to like working inside of like the operating system was when we were I had to take these cybersecurity classes, and we practiced doing denial of service attacks, but
right,
we
yeah.
didn't actually do them. We just like practiced doing
Yeah.
it, you know.
And actually,
But
Python
I
is
never
used.
really understood. I'm sorry?
Python can absolutely be used to, do denial of service.
Uh-huh.
Which, for those who don't know, is where you basically send a bunch of basically requests to a service. So, say I have a website and I create a bot that can say, hey, I want all the information on your site over and over and over again, constantly, that actually can confuse the server that the website is hosted on, because it's just getting bombarded with information, and you can make it crash. Just about, I'm explaining what denial of service attack can be. But Python would actually be a good language to use to do that, because all you're doing is creating a loop. I'm not going to teach that because, that'd be wrong, but yeah, it can be used for that. But it can be used to make a child get, not necessarily Python, because Python's not very good with graphics. But coding you can use for anything. You use it when you open up your bank account on your phone. You use it when you're using WhatsApp or you're emailing. You use it when you're getting something off of Amazon. There are so many uses for it, and obviously as the world becomes more technological rather, and complicated with all our IT systems and stuff, that it's a growing market. It's a lucrative market right now, and there are just so many jobs available for different uses. You've got so many branches as well, because you've got web design, you've got app development, you've got cybersecurity. There are lots of different programming languages. So, for example, you have C Sharp. You have, my mind's gone blank. You've got a bunch of different languages, all for slightly different things. For example, on here you've got the Web Bootcamp, which in itself will only be covering HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Well, that's 3 languages, all for a website, right? Although, as you get more advanced, actually, there's also databases, which you'll often connect to a website, and the there's a language for creating a database, and then there's a language to connect the website and the database. So actually there's lots of different languages, and generally they're all quite similar. They've got different syntaxes. Python's the easiest because you don't have to worry too much about, braces and stuff. But they are all they're very similar, a lot of them. So yeah, that's why this bootcamp I think is really important, and why Python is absolutely the most important language to learn for beginners.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any suggestions for, I guess, good habits to start thinking about as opposed to bad habits with programming?
Oh, good question. Not that I can think of. I think that there is, just keep working on it. I know that when I was teaching myself in school, I would just spend hours easily just, going over everything that I'd learned in school, how I could improve. Just using the internet, there are a few good sites that you can use, and you can get the answer quite quickly. Actually, the way that I learn everything I know about computers now, I learn by breaking things, right? With software in particular, I would mess about with something, break it, and go, oh, we need this bit of software for, in the next 10 minutes. Can you fix it by then? And that's actually how I've learned a lot of things. It's not being afraid to break things and see how they fix. There's nothing wrong with trying something and finding out that it doesn't work. Just keep doing things, keep making mistakes. Don't be afraid of doing errors, right? Because you're a human. You're going to make errors. So yeah, don't be upset if that happens, right?
Thanks. Great advice. Great tips.
All right. Yeah, I think we'll wrap up here. And I think our sessions will be 1 hour long. I wasn't sure initially how long they'd be, whether they'd be 1 or 2, but I think we'll keep it to 1 hour. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this series.
I have a question. Okay. It's some people, maybe their minds just don't work like this because even though I took those classes, I never really understood what was going on.
Yeah,
I know that
understand
sounds funny, but I was just like going through the motions, and I think I got a B in the class. And I was just kind of like following instructions, but like I never really integrated into like what was really going on, if
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I get that.
Which
Yeah.
is why I never got into cybersecurity. But I know that it's a really, really, lucrative line of work.
yeah.
So, do some people's minds just don't go there or
Oh
something?
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I know a few
okay.
people who, their minds just don't work like that.
Yeah.
My mind. I know that you're on script camp, right? And you're on word camp as well, I believe. My mind is not very. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why I decided to come into this class. I'm getting really, really caught up on the novel and stuff. So I thought maybe check
Yeah.
this out, and support
Okay.
your class.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. My brain is very good with anything computers and software in particular, but my brain, for example, is rubbish with prose writing. Now, I'm not doing the novel bootcamp because my brain just doesn't work like that. Yeah, I have the ideas, but just I struggle personally to come up with the words to describe what's happening in my mind, for example. So yeah, different people's brains will work differently, and if there's one thing I've learned, you can't force a brain to work a certain way, right? You just have to, work how your brain works. So if your brain doesn't work with computing, that's fine. That's, part of life. I'm not going to be angry with you but if you don't have a talent for coding, because that's not your fault, Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so make sure you join back for next week. There's no homework this week. We might be setting tasks though in the future. So yeah. Hopefully you will all enjoy it. Do feel free to let me know how you actually feel, because I much prefer knowing what you actually need rather than me trying to guess what works best for you guys. If your brain isn't technologically operating, I don't know what the word is there. And that's fair enough. Let me know and I will try and adapt for you. Let me know what does work for you, because there's no point in me teaching if my students don't understand, So I will do whatever I can to help you to understand, right? Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Yeah. Be sure to join next week, same time, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good one, everybody.